I'll call the meeting of the Acton School Committee, Tuesday, April 14th, 2015, to order at this time. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Ryan's, oh, he's sick. Ryan was sick today, wasn't
Yeah, I guess, yes.
he? He was to do the celebration of that.
He's got scratch.
Any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes,
Yes.
there'll be a couple now. Celebration learning will not take place. Ryan is absent or sick today. Ryan Martin was going to, I think he was going to do the dancing, right? The music. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
Oh,
Fabulous.
I heard about that.
You guys want to speak to
The
it?
dance.
Brian Martin and Travis Corcoran, the music teacher, spent the entire week with the entire school teaching them square line dance.
Oh, yeah.
So cool. And K to 3 performed together at the assembly.
Heard good things about it.
And it was a sort of an Irish reel type of, Scottish reel, am I getting my, mixed up? It was incredible. They were really terrific.
PE music.
And then 4 through 8, we became the audience, and 4 through 8 took the floor and performed to Achy Breaky Heart.
What they call it? Was it contra dancing or something like
It
that?
was,
Is
yes.
that what I've never.
Absolutely amazing.
It was
That's
amazing.
awesome.
You get them all to do it.
Awesome.
Okay, so more adjustments. I probably should have just asked you to do that later, but.
With that,
In your
I'll-
board packet, you have a calendar draft that you can throw, because there's a colored one that was handed out just now by Kim. That's the one we're going to be using, is the colored one. So, okay.
Okay.
Then under, I guess this would go under new business. Put 9 point, let's just put 9.8 and 9.9. One is called reasonable assurance document of employment. Another one is 9.9, which is notice of election for school year support staff. You don't have to write it all up. But it's just- and then the last one, I think we should add, maybe this is 10. Recognize that this is Joy's last meeting.
Okay. What was 9.8 again? I mean,
Reasonable-
9.9.
It's what support staff have to fill up for paperwork for the
support
office. I
staff,
want you
yeah.
to see that. It's a little change.
Yep.
Do you want to do the unbelt,
Oh, that's another one. So we got to add 11 in there. 10.1, I mean. And the, what do we, what's the title?
fund balance calculation?
Just put fund balance, calc,
9.11.
whatever.
What were the other ones I missed? Oh, I'm sorry. 9.
Reasonable assurance document, a notice of election for staff, support staff. I just leave it at that. Joy, and then fund balance calculation. We got a lot more done than, how did we get done this last couple days?
Wow, we're going to have 9.11 under new business, so we should,
Comments from public?
it should be a real short meeting. Just saying. Any comments from the public? Anybody? Nope. Okay then.
In my notes, I forgot your name. Kelly?
Okay, so we're skipping the celebration of learning, so,
We just kind of had it.
yeah, we've just had that a little bit. So we'll go on to the consent agenda, and I will, at this time, ask for a
Copy of the
motion
agenda.
to approve the consent agenda.
I move to put forth the consent agenda for the bundled items.
I can't approve it because I wasn't here for the minutes, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay.
Okay?
All right.
I'm gonna-
Any discussion?
Yes.
Or you want to wait until we get to the questions for the administrative president on the next one under number
Oh.
5?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, so signify.
And I'll just abstain.
Okay. Okay, anybody have questions for the administrative reports in the consent agenda?
Yes, I was just wondering, number 14 of the superintendent's report,
I'm gonna dig it out here.
it was regarding the custodial staff. Andrew may speak to this in the monthly report. I don't think it was in the monthly report.
Okay,
Was it?
probably, no, it wasn't.
Okay.
You wanna address what's kind of the changes that may be happening a little bit?
Tentatively, one of our night custodians is going to be seeking a reduction in hours. So what that means is he will be still here in the evenings, just he will be here less hours. And I'm aiming towards potentially having him be a school year employee versus being a full-time, year-round employee. I'm hoping that we can do this without any impact to the department. I know that when we went through the budget process, you know, I really advocated strongly for these positions. However, some things came up with this employee and he had an opportunity to work somewhere else. And he has been very valuable to the school and trying to come up with some solutions and hoping that we can realize a savings and not jeopardize the quality of care that we take in the building. So we're going to be starting his schedule tentatively in the middle of May at the reduced rate, and then in the fall it will resume.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for any of the administrative reports?
All right, but not so much a question as a comment is in the superintendent's report, the first student one, item 17. I just want to kind of, this is year 2, additional issues with first student. Last year we had the issue with the heating. Now we've got some additional issues, so I don't know if there are other options, but it's just an ongoing concern. I mean, this is the third thing in the span of a year where it just seems like they've been dropping the ball. And I find that perturbing.
I would agree with you 100%. I've been getting a lot of feedback from parents in town about the buses and not being happy with the buses, so. I know that we have another year on that contract, is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm not sure how much options we have.
We don't have many.
It's, so,
Kim might be able to speak.
Yeah, actually, I mean, if we
There is an
actually
option.
have concerns,
One
there is.
option, one, right? One other option. I mean, when we got bus bids, there were only 2, correct?
I don't know if, but
Say that again?
No, we actually had 3 bus bids, but there might be some services available
Oh,
now that were
right.
not available at the time, 2 years ago when we put the bus routes out to bid, correct?
that's kind of why I'm bringing it up, because it would seem to me that if we wanted to get out, there's been enough.
That contract was before me, so I
Yes.
really don't know the history about the
Yeah.
contract. But I mean, I was just gonna say that we're actually just reading the contract again because we are getting ready to, do something with the special ed. So I was pulling out
Yeah.
contracts regarding the bus anyway. And there is a clause in there where if we have performance issues or there could be, there's an out, but at the
That's
same
why I'm bringing it up.
time, you've got to have something in place.
Yeah.
And
Are there other options out there? I mean, that's the, I mean, these are, I mean, they're not dinky little issues. I mean, not heating the buses, not being communicated with, just,
This particular one, I can tell you, the main issue behind this one was, actually, this rolled in like 3 issues. This one statement actually is 3 issues. One Diana brought up to me, right? And I addressed that, and as I was addressing that, I uncovered the other things that led to this,
Convoluted.
convoluted issue. Our bus contact, the person that we do all the contact was left. We didn't know that for a week. Same time, they had a bunch of substitute drivers. Substitute drivers didn't know the routine on some aspects of it. Some way they document the list of where children live and how long it should take them to go from one place to the other was not updated on the bus driver that they were substituting for. Therefore, they arrived, they went through the run real early, and the person, actually, that's the bus I was on. And she said, after I got about halfway through, I said, something's wrong here, because she only had like 4 kids on the bus, and she should have like 15 at that time. And I said, so explain what, she said, turned around, went back, started, again. And she figured out it was, and some of the documentation says, leave school at 7, let's say 7:10. Pick first student up at 6:58.
Okay.
They weren't there.
So
Going backwards.
the next day, things ran smooth as far as that goes. And then there was another issue in Sanford,
Oh, the high
because of the 2 substitutes, they had 2 substitutes that day, go to Sanford. One child goes on one bus, apparently, and the other bus arrived, but this child goes on the second bus, and that bus wasn't there, called the parent. And that's why I got a phone call within minutes or whatever. But this bus left, and they didn't communicate to the kids standing there that the other bus is coming, but, so it was just kind of, a bunch of things kind of happened all at once. Things have been smooth since.
Well,
Was it- were they gonna-
I also wanted to thank you because after I brought up some of my concerns to you, you addressed them and it has gotten better. But I just don't want it to backslide and not to have parents being communicated with, because it just causes so much stress for the parents, because they depend on that bus to come. That is when they say it's going to come, because we have to go to work. So I just wanted to thank you for helping with that.
And just on your item number 6, what happened with Sanford's calendar? Did they approve it?
Yes.
That's the reason we have one in front of us.
Yes.
Or one of the reasons.
Yes.
Yes.
Any other questions for anybody under the administrative reports? Okay, if not, let's go on to 5.2, superintendent items, the oil contract.
Andrew, do you want to speak to that, and Kim, that particular, where we're at? Or I can.
Oil contract,
We got the chance to, as you know, we locked in at 221 for this next year. Is it two?
Yes.
I was at a meeting in York last month, and I heard a couple other superintendents, they actually locked in for a 2-year cycle. And I said,
How'd you do that?
how did you do that? So, did some digging, planted the seed, and we talked with David Therides from Sanford. A week went by, his business manager talked with, we buy in bulk through them, talked to them, and they got, this particular quote came from Dead River, correct?
No.
Yes. Nope.
This is the second
Oh,
one.
no, second
Both
one came
years.
from, right.
Okay, so Dead River pushed out, and they offered us the opportunity to lock in at 223,
224.
224 for the second year. Andrew and I chatted, and Kim and I chatted. I think I was not around here that day. We were doing that on the phone. And, really, I was like, here's one variable it's my understanding, you generally do not have the information during budget cycle. It's usually after. Lucky this year we had it, and like, here we can go for 2 years, we'll know. It's not that much more than what we currently pay, so from a budgetary point, it should be fairly level. And it was like, depending on the cold year, warm year, how much we use too, and it was like, it only takes one world hiccup to cause oil prices to go. And it really is it gonna drop much more than 224, do you think? In the next
No, like-
24
Well,
months?
I don't think
So they're
Just
buying that
down,
on a
down,
contract,
down.
they're buying that on the futures
Up,
market
down.
on a contract at a fixed rate, just like airplanes companies do. And it's like, yeah, this is a no-brainer, let's do it. And so we executed it at 224, so we already know what our oil costs are gonna be for the next 24 months.
Good.
That's awesome, very good.
And now we'll go on to health rates.
That's the other, remember, we're in our budget cycle, we don't know, we have some unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
This is the other one. And Kim will speak to that because she gets those numbers in her head much better than I do.
We, because we budgeted for a 3% increase, thinking that's what it was going to be, and then when our rates come in, they came in at 2.43. So we have a little bit of a buffer, so in case somebody gets married or somebody has a baby and they've gone from
Single
Okay.
to full
Single
family.
Yeah, I know.
But that would give us enough room for any changes in that direction. too.
Good.
So,
That's great.
And the please note, and the please note, read that sentence.
It's in the superintendent's report.
Which one?
Oh.
Number 2.
Number 2.
Please note, oh, yeah. Please note, we do expect rates to increase substantially next year. In other words, this 16-17 budget.
we already know.
Because we already know of experience ratings in January and February of this year. We thought if they looked at those, our rates would be above 3,
Yeah.
and they aren't. So we actually, in January and February, I think we have almost the cost of a good portion of the premium for a year.
So next year.
So next year our rates probably-
we're gonna.
Unless things go great from here on, the rest of the year, we might level out.
Am I,
I wouldn't count on it.
no, either.
And then we have the Affordable Care Act to worry about,
So,
also coming into effect. That's another whole issue.
Okay, let's move on to progress monitoring reports, strategic plan updates.
We
All
just-
set with that?
We had a workshop prior to this meeting a little bit. That was more of an outline of some items. The intent of that workshop was I needed to really know where the board or the committee was in regards to certain thoughts. And now I think we got a good portion, we can probably put the plan together in a pretty good way. There's one item that we'll talk about next time we need to set a date.
We'll do that right
And
now.
I meant to ask if there was, anybody wanted to set a date even next week, during the week.
Do you want to set up a time now to
I
meet?
don't know if that happened, it was available, too
For
short
what?
notice.
Next week?
Like a 4-hour session, maybe we could do a policy
we really,
combination.
yeah, if we can do a policy, workshop where you have the bundle, you've had it for like two months, but I'm thinking if we can at least have a workshop as we collect, packages, and then be able to just sit down and, now the policy committee's hammered them out, but then as a board, really tweak and finalize it and then get our final copy. I think if we could do that, that would be awesome.
Well, what about before the school town meeting on the 28th then?
That's gonna be a long night.
Not really.
She's talking, huh?
I think this probably ought to be something that we just do
Separate?
separately, yeah.
Unfortunately.
It's when you're going through them, Kevin and Jeanette can attest that, but we get done 4 hours, man, we're spent. So
Yeah.
I would suggest that you do it separate and not combine it with, the public.
How about some morning next week do you have school vacation next week, Diana?
No.
You don't, do you?
Oh, I didn't know that.
New Hampshire's different.
Okay, well,
It's always off a week.
What
But
about,
if you guys want to go ahead without me and just send me some stuff, that's
what's your
fine.
schedule look like next week, Kevin?
I'm in Boston on Tuesday, but I've been trying to take off, so I'm around.
Okay.
Tuesday?
Tuesday I'm in Boston.
Wednesday? How about Wednesday morning?
Wednesday I might be busy.
So when were you
Mike?
free? Was it?
Then it gets eaten up.
Well, then it would have to be probably Monday?
Monday? Okay.
Monday morning?
Yeah.
4-hour session,
3?
3?
I just want to
What time do you get
try
up?
to, what?
Time do you get up?
Whenever you want.
Oh, good. Oh, my God.
We're not on your schedule.
I know.
All right, 3 a.m. now.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, the only reason I hesitate is I've really been trying to preserve some, you know,
Some family time.
the squid time.
Absolutely.
Want to say 8 to 11?
What day?
Monday.
Monday?
8 to 11 Monday?
Date for, was it?
On the 20th?
20th.
20th?
Is that okay for everybody? I mean,
So
we
far,
can
so
do
good.
later.
Like I
So
said, if you could
it'll
just
be
send
a-
me stuff,
It'll
that would
be
be
a
great.
combo
Call in
policy,
sick.
more policy
do
than
that.
SP.
Is this,
So the one piece we didn't get to on the strategic plan, talking about when we started this, we'll hit that and then we'll do policy. How's that sound?
Policy/strategic plan.
Okay.
Now,
since we're
that-
talking about that, I got a
encompass-
couple questions, yeah?
Oh,
No, go ahead,
workshop.
Jeanette.
The ones that we had from last time, that tonight was supposed to be the first reading.
Right.
Correct.
Right, so we're gonna wait.
No, we can
No,
vote
We're
on
gonna
it.
do the
We'll
first
do it
read
as
and
a
then
first
go over
reading.
on, okay.
Right.
All right.
So that, like, if you go through the first read and you have a few that you really want to tweak,
We tweak them.
we could do that at the
Monday.
workshop, and then there's another section that's really done that we could hand out at the workshop to go over,
And do we want to also play with,
And make a postal notice.
your new ones, your drafts.
well, yeah, so there's a few things come to mind, and maybe would it be a good time to maybe have a conversation about crafting some new policies? Some that come to mind are proficiency-based learning, class size, and we've talked about it before. I'm just curious what others think, and maybe we can look at some research. The reason I bring this up is I can do some research around uniforms. So would that be things we could
Yes,
talk about?
uniforms, policy.
But we have,
I've been saying this for 20 years.
Well,
Well, go ahead and look them up.
That's what I mean.
Bring us some stuff to the
Let's-
table.
Let's look at research.
We definitely know.
All right. Is there anything else people would want me to maybe
What were
investigate?
the things you said?
we gotta finish. what we
Proficiency-based
got-
learning.
We started, I mean,
Class size
Class
Yeah.
size.
and
Red Sox uniforms.
and
it's,
uniforms.
oh,
They were on
I've
yesterday.
already lived that life.
Okay.
Oh, well, we're only gonna do uniforms for the staff, not the kids.
That makes it so much easier.
And she likes purple. Okay.
Okay,
Policy, we said 8 to 11?
Yes.
8 to 11. 4:20. Okay. All right, let's move on. Crisis plan,
No update.
no update. Okay. Committee reports, anything from the long-term planning committee?
We didn't meet.
No.
Andy just
Let's
stepped out.
let's come back to
We'll
that.
come back to it. Policy committee, I think we've pretty much taken care of that one, right? Unfinished business, we have the policy bundle. And I would look for a motion to accept the bundle of policies. Do we want to read them all?
Just the titles.
The titles, yeah.
All right.
There's quite a few.
There are. Okay, we're looking to approve for a first reading, school committee legal status, file BB. School committee powers and responsibilities, file BBA. School committee declared vacancy caused by absenteeism, file BBD. Unexpired term fulfillment, file BBE. School committee member code of ethics, file BCA.
There's a pattern here.
There is, we're in a section. School committee conflict of interest, file BCB. Oops,
Some of these hadn't been updated
just, these are
15
updates,
years.
yeah.
in years.
Nepotism, BCC. Sorry, my fingers are stuck. School committee standing committees, BDE. School committee meetings, BD. Annual organization meeting, BDA. School committee officers, BDB. School committee superintendent relationship, BDD. Advisory committees to the school committee, BDF. School board use of electronic mail, BEA. Executive sessions, BEC. Executive session procedures, BEC 5-E. Agenda format, BDDB. Quorum. Quorum, BEDC. Rules of order, BEDD. Voting method, BEDF. Minutes, BEDG. Public participation at school committee meetings, BEDH. New committee member orientation, BIA. Committee member freedom of access law training, BIC. Certification of completion of freedom of access training required by MRSA 412, BICE. Approval of warrants, BL. I'll look for a motion to accept all of those policies for a first reading.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded that these policies be accepted as a first reading to be reviewed at our workshop next week. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, let's move on to new business. Substitute pay data.
There's a sheet in your packet.
From the old one. That's the old one. Same.
Well, I did notice in looking that over that we're pretty much in line with surrounding areas. I think I noticed that we're looking to do a little better compensation for people who are substituting for an extended period of time, which I think is a good idea.
I don't see it in the packet.
It's there.
It's in here, it's in here somewhere, because I was looking at it
Near the back.
today.
You need one?
The reason this was brought up, a couple things. Someone on staff mentioned it. I think it was Dale mentioned in an email, general posting, maybe we need to look at that. It was brought up here at this meeting. I don't know if it was, I think it was last month. Somebody mentioned something about that. And so I happened to have been on another meeting and I heard a superintendent in Kittery was doing some stuff on this and they wanted to gather stuff. And so I asked Kim if she would contact that person and gather the information they had and along with the information she had and then put together this matrix. If you look at it, as I can agree with what Judy said, this district seems to compensate at or above most of the surrounding. So it doesn't appear to be, finding subs doesn't appear to be because, it's more advantageous to work someplace else subbing. It seems to be just everybody's scrounging for subs. That may be indicative of the economy picking up and people having jobs and not needing to substitute as much. That's usually what happens. You'll see more substitutes when the economy slides, they're more available. Maybe, I don't know.
And is one of the challenges, the issues, just difficulty in finding subs here? That's the, have we,
I think there's always been that problem.
what strategies other than pay, like what's kind of going through my mind is, what about sending out a letter to all parents? I just wonder if maybe a little with communications in regards to, there's a need, these are the kind of the requirements and we're looking for good people.
Yeah, I think a letter to go out. People don't know.
That's
that
right,
we
I think
have
if
this
people
problem.
knew, there might be untapped potential.
Yeah.
And another thing that I'm wondering is, I know that in Sanford they do substitute training. Would we be interested in offering substitute training
No,
for
we could use the
people?
Sanford training, why not, right?
Or we could send them down to Sanford
Yeah.
for training, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's a good
When we have
idea.
somebody new that comes in that wants to substitute, I mean, there's a pretty good procedure we have in place. You know, first, they have to qualify. They have to get all their fingerprints, we make sure they have all their documentation. Then, after we've reviewed their information, we know they qualify, they come in and we have a walk-through interview process, where Trish would sit down and go through a lot of questions with, this is what our intent is when you're supervising, and we kind of give them a layout of the school. Each classroom has a sub-policy, plan and guidance, so to speak, within their classrooms.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think as
So
far
we're
as
good,
our
yeah.
So we have something in place.
we do,
Yeah.
we really do. I mean, we don't have a class
Formal,
per se,
yeah.
but we do that when we have somebody new come in.
So there's an onboarding process of sorts.
Yeah.
But
So-
that's once we have somebody in. Question is what strategies do we have to tap the pool?
Maybe, I'm thinking maybe more than just the parents, because I
Yeah.
think one of our latest substitutes that was interested was a member of the Warrant Finance Committee, right? So it's outside of the actual parental area, so maybe we could,
Are we allowed to put it on the
Put
the
something
TV
in.
station? Is that
On what?
something we can do?
The TV station?
Yeah.
I don't know if we're allowed
I think
ads,
that is,
Is that if,
advertisement.
yeah,
yeah, but it's not for our.
It's a public.
it's a public
it's for this-
announcement.
this
public
part that
announcement,
The channel is dedicated to
yeah,
education, so
yeah,
it's not, we're not trying to make a profit.
right.
And in one sense too, when it comes to subs, I mean, yeah, sometimes we do have a problem, but it's like when we have a lot of teachers that decide that, when we send them out to like Marzano
Workshop.
training and stuff like that, that's kind of when we have the shortfalls.
Yeah.
But with next year's calendar, which you'll see, I think a lot of the PD training will be done that
In-house.
Wednesday. So, I mean, we still would like to send them out at times too, but maybe we could, really stagger them, so they're sending them all at once, or, so maybe we can work our less need of a sub, I guess is what I'm trying.
We had a lot to do with regards to, we sent a lot out with regard
We
to
did, this year we
evaluations.
spent
We
a
had to.
lot.
We were up against it.
But there's-
I had another idea about, for substitutes, though, why not send notes to some of the colleges in the area and network with some of the colleges, get students and talk to students about subbing opportunities. I mean, I know being a student, they need to get classroom experience anyway. It would be a good building block. Just a thought.
I think that's a good idea.
Just a little, if it's possible, I mean, I don't know if we can even do this, paying them to job shadow, just to come into the classroom, pay them for a day to come in and get a comfort level to understand some strategies before you throw them into it. And, that may create a little bit more,
Comfort.
a little bit more, comfort. People have some strategies in place. And I like the idea of the college thing, because that's what I did. When I got out of school in May,
Yeah.
I subbed right until,
Till
school got out.
closed.
So
So
just to
if they did come in for a day, they would obviously visit different classrooms, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they would,
I think
at
that-
different
yeah.
levels,
Yeah.
part of the day at different levels, that would make
Yep,
sense.
meet with teachers, lunch with us, talk about different things that we do that work,
So-
that they could do.
So really, as part of what Kim was saying, that the people meet with Patricia right now, that just becomes another.
An additional.
But I'm thinking though, if we could build some sort of a partnership with the university, I know myself, I went through the University of Southern Maine to get my degree, and they're always looking to partner with schools, and that's kind of something untapped that we've never tried before, so.
Now, also on that line, it said ACA implications.
Affordable Care Act.
I know what that meant, but what are the implications? Because, we don't have to pay for the health insurance. for subs?
If they're here for, oh God, this is a long conversation, I don't think, and I don't know what I'm gonna have to reference this.
What?
There's,
It is.
yes,
What?
because you have to look back over an entire year,
Yeah.
potentially. If they have more than X number of hours and da-da-da, it's, then you have to offer retroactive, it's, yes, this is not, we spend a whole day, both of us,
Yeah.
along with many others, and everybody's like,
Did we budget for that?
well,
I mean,
there's
this
ways to
doesn't start
manage it
this
to
year,
avoid
right?
certain parts of that too.
Next year.
And that's how, the route most schools are going. There's ways to, if you manage that,
Just stay below a threshold.
you can stay below the threshold.
That would require, though, having a
You have to keep
more
on top
robust
of it.
pool.
You have to keep on
Yes.
top of it.
That's the thing.
Is there, so with that in mind too, another, I'm thinking outside the box now, but with the pre-K or with some local, I could see a potential, I agree, that, families of students, but also outside within the community, all would be potential pool. But I could see also parents with younger kids who have children here who might be good substitutes, but they can't because of their
Childcare.
younger siblings. If there's a way to provide childcare for subs, that might tap into, I don't know, with pre-K or, I don't, maybe a partnership with some local preschools, I don't know, but if we were to say, if you want to sub for us, there's a quid pro quo, that might be something.
It was kind of a tough thing to do, to be on call bang like that, because don't they call in the morning, or,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it's, you got a
When
day
that's
plan, you know,
something that
that's the whole,
doesn't
that's the same with the substitute bus drivers, you know, I mean, it's all,
But I know,
somebody called, it's, you know,
I know a few parents though who have younger children who have education or early child care backgrounds or degrees who can't work right now because they're taking care of their siblings. But if this was a way to still be able to stay at home, do some work at the same time, continue to gain experience and work with kids.
oh, I understand what
It'd
you're
be a
saying, but to, you
No,
know,
I
all of
agree.
a sudden be
Kicking
called in the
in
morning,
the
say,
Okay.
you know, that's a tough thing to do, that's a,
Well, how about if we just have
A life, yeah, it's a
Mike
life.
put something on
right,
the
look,
TV
books, yeah.
Yeah.
screen, if anyone's interested in substituting at the school, to contact the school, contact Kim or
Have a substitute out already?
Tricia.
Help on it.
Maybe a pressing pause section.
Yep, that's a good idea too. Okay, let's keep on going here. 9-2. Total student days for instruction for the 15-16 year.
365. Right.
We're gonna take off 5 of those days, so
This
360.
item is on here because in our first workshop session on strategic plan, it was expressed by somebody here, or combinations, that you would like to look at possibly extending the number of days that students have for school. And it ranged from what you just said to less than that.
No, it had to do with having early release days, then you better give my kids more time in school.
Okay.
All right.
But the initial discussion during the workshop was you guys wanted to increase the number of student days in
Yeah, I'm talking
general.
2 months ago.
In
Right.
general, that
Well,
was
increase
before,
learning
That's what this-
time.
that was before we talked
Increase
about
learning
the early
time.
release days.
Well, as it kind of works out, because of this workshop days, and if we adopt the calendar that we're proposing here tonight, we removed the teacher workshop days that were spread throughout the year intermittently. And we can basically add 2 more student days at no effect to the budget, except for transportation costs. And you know
Nutrition.
what that is? It's $2,800 and a little change, and we know, we didn't budget for it. But we're able to cover it.
Yeah, and nutrition
So,
would be
and
another
the nutrition
small
is
one.
the other piece. Another day of lunch. Okay,
So that having been said,
it kind of rolls, 9-2 and 9-3 kind of roll together.
Should we vote on that?
So it's 175, by law, you have to have 175. This is 177. That's what it is.
But is it noted on this new calendar that we just got?
and since we did talk about this in our strategic workshop plan, I think we're probably pretty much ready to vote on this, correct?
Yes.
So I'll have a motion to adapt the 2015-2016 Acton Elementary School calendar.
So moved.
Need a second, okay.
Second, please.
Mary and Diana. Any further discussion?
No, this was the calendar or just the 77 days first?
The calendar, we just
The
said.
calendar. No?
I think we should have a little discussion on the calendar. So just adopt the 77 days first.
All right, number of days.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the 177 days,
I'll second
student
that.
days.
Okay, that's under 9 too.
Okay.
And who seconded that? Jeanette. Any further discussion on the number of student days? If not, then,
Clarification, just a clarification of the budget implications.
no budget implications, correct?
Transportation and nutrition, and we are okay with, we
Nothing that
know
we-
how to handle the transportation, and I don't anticipate the nutrition being that much, since more than 50% is reimbursed
Do you
anyway.
want to explain, do you want me to explain the
Sure.
transportation? Okay. The transportation was going to increase because we have 2 days, 5 buses, that's $28.50. Because I was basing it on this year's current calendar. Our current calendar this year has 6 early release days. We have to pay extra for early release days. With this new calendar, there's only 2 early release days. So the 4 days actually also equals $28.50. So it
It's a wash.
washes.
So it's a wash, so there's no financial implication. Any other discussion? All those in favor? So moved. Now we're on 9.3, which is the proposed calendar. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that.
That's all right. Good, they do kind of get
Did you have anything you wanted to bring up on the proposed calendar?
Yeah, just to make sure people really know what this is saying. And Patty or Rachel, please speak to it. I gave Patty and I, the initial first draft of this, she and I met. I wanted to make sure we were lining the ducks up and so forth, and she headed off some things. Then we provided it to staff, about a week ago?
Yeah.
To the staff to look at, and I provided a Google form where they could put in their comments and catch things and so forth, and they did, and collectively we've come up with a better product and understanding. There's some people, that don't like the extra 2 days, there's some that do, and some that, it's just personal preferences. The thing we really gotta decide is if this is when the start and stop day needs to be. We have to think of the busing costs to Sanford for a high school. Currently, Sanford's last day is June 8th with no snow days. Okay, so I'm working backwards. June 8th is, because I think adding days to the end may be more difficult than adding days to the beginning, as far as for
Okay,
kids
so
at the elementary level.
we're talking about June 8th, and then the snow days would be,
Those are the snow days?
those are the snow days, which would take us up until the 15th
That's correct.
if we used all the snow
That's
days.
correct. And because you're 2 days over on the student required days, you actually have the latitude of deciding as a committee.
Taking 2 of those off.
You could, if we had a really bad
It's
run of
snowing
weather,
again.
you could say, you know what, we forgive one of those days. I know some districts did that, that have like 180 days, and they had like 11 snow days, and so they just said, okay, for this year, they said to the
It
teachers.
is what it is.
Use that for PD, for planning, and so you guys would have that latitude going forward, I guess. So the first official student day would be August 31st. And I say student, that's K-8. Now, these little yellow boxes, oh, Mike, I sent you this. Do you want to put it up there?
Sure.
Might be easier. The yellow boxes on the bottom, in the Monday column, the yellow stands for student days. The middle one, under Wednesday, stands for workshop, early release days, kid affected. And the far right is teacher days. So if you look in August, there's 2 teacher days. There'll be Monday the 31st and Thursday the 27th. And NTO's new teacher work, we expect potentially have potentially 2 new teachers. So they're gonna need, they just have to come in for that. Now, I'm proposing, this is why I wanted to go over it. Notice in the far right in the green, it says pre-K right here. Pre-K student morning. This is just a suggestion, we don't have to do this, is that we release the kindergarten teacher and the pre-K teacher, and they have the kids, parents would have to transport them, bringing them in, and they kind of have the school to themselves and walk around, and whatever. We don't have to do that, but, so basically pre-K and K would have an extra day. You know, I don't know.
What day you look,
This would be on the teacher workshop day. Those 2 teachers would be excused from the teacher workshop day for 2 hours or 3 hours to meet with the parents and just get rid of some of those
yeah,
anxiety-related, whatever.
So that would be August
That would be
August
August
27th.
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 Clarification?
Yeah.
Yep.
The yellow boxes stand for what again?
This here is how many student days? 1 student day. Move it up a little bit, Mike. Okay, like this one, there's 21 student days in this month. There's 3 early release days. This is where PD is taking place in these orange days. This is a workshop day. I mean, a conference day. This is 21 teacher days. So this is
Okay.
just a way of keeping track that I have 175, 177, 181, and I just put them here for now. When we publish this out, these will be gone. We'll leave all this, but these will be gone. It's just for you to know. Okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions about the calendar?
Well, I got a little more.
Yep.
I have a
Go
question
ahead.
too.
The next thing is, you'll notice that you have, in the past, you've had 2 conference sessions, a spring, a fall,
Fall and spring.
and a spring. One night.
Yes.
Do you get filled up in one night, backed up, and some of you do an extra night on the
Yes.
side?
Yes.
So, when I look at this, I said, we need to have communication to parents in some form, besides just phone calls, etc., about every 30 days. So we either have conferences or report cards, essentially, every 30 days, roughly. It's 27 or 35, it floats a little bit. So these parent-teacher conferences are spread over into 2 days. If you flip to the, do you want, Mike? Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Come on, right there. Parent-teacher conferences, those would be the times. Wednesday, 1:45 to 5, Thursday, 4:30 to 7:30. Conferences are 6.25 hours, that's how much time would be available there. Total of 18.7 time. In order to compensate the teachers for that time, this is how it would be addressed. Now, can you explain it further? You see it's a,
Just typo on the conferences.
Yeah.
okay.
The,
This won't be, this is just for us.
the yellows with the early release student days, teacher work, is that going to be gone too?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think some of the numbering's off in some of the months. Like October, I count 4, there's 3. December, I count 4, there's 3.
No, yeah, you're right. Go back to October.
It's 4.
These are, the orange are PD days, professional development days. This is an early release day, except it's not for PD.
Oh, so the middle one is just for PD days.
Blue, look at the blue.
The blue
The blue.
is conference days,
I thought,
orange is PD days.
gotcha, I thought the 3, the yellow just meant early
Nope,
releases.
it means the PD,
Okay,
okay?
gotcha.
Okay? Now,
Good.
so if you look, you'll have 3 conferences, sessions, spread out. With this, the teachers will not do progress reports. The progress report is the conference. The parent that doesn't show will they'll have to write one after the fact for the parent that doesn't show. So they're gonna talk about the students' evidence, have their binders, which they do now. It's basically, instead of teachers invest the time to write a piece of paper just to talk about it, they're gonna talk about it. The person that doesn't show, then they do the one for that one person. It's just a more efficient use of their time, I think. Yep.
So will there be standardized practices for
That's-
what will take place during the conferences?
We can. I'm not getting the minutes down at the moment here.
Like, right, so for example, right now, they tend to be sort of conversations, like there's not each one's a little different, they tend to be a little bit more informal. If it's gonna take the place, I would like there to be some rigor and data and actual, the clear demonstration of growth or non-growth or that sort of thing, which there hasn't been as much of with the parent conferences. You know, sometimes more, sometimes less, but I think if particularly is going to take place, there should be standardized practices of what parents can expect and what kind of data and what kind of information to share.
Let me go on a little bit, because it's kind of tied with the,
Which I love this idea. I love it, because talking is good.
I couldn't speak to what you did for practices in the past, because I missed the October one, I was here just a week or so, and
I think you could say before this year, the report card itself was the anchor for discussion at any given conference. So
Now the evidence binder.
this year has been very varied across the building because of the change.
Okay. All right, so, this brings up the next thing, well, many things here. I want to make sure everybody understands this. There are 2 early dismissal days, one in December, one in February. This is a different dismissal than the others. This one is at 12:30, not 1:30. And I just picked the number, the day before Christmas and the day before February vacation.
The pink.
Christmas one, I want to keep the pink. I want to keep that one there, but the February one could be negotiated. We could say, let's move to Thanksgiving, let's move to April. It doesn't matter. But here's the reason: I needed to come up with an additional 2.5 hours in order to make the conference compensation to work out for conferences. To pick this stuff to work out. How I did that was by having a true early dismissal. Staff and students all leave at 12:30 on the day before Christmas break. Staff and students all leave the day before on February break. To make the math work. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, and the next thing, and this gets into kind of what Kevin was just talking about. If you notice in September, there's this kind of, could you go to September, Mike? Thank you. This limey color, it didn't print quite that. You'll notice that it's very soon in the year. And the reason for this is that's New Year Day. That's going to help determine where kids are at.
Great.
But it falls real close to here. So between here and the ED we do here is going to be about how to set growth goals with kids and so forth. That'll be discussed with parents there. That's one piece. Now move up, please, Mike, to spring. Spring, we shifted this year, by the way, kudos to the teachers. They're having to do a new process for New Year this year, a new process for MEA, both of which are online. They had a lot of learning, and it was jammed in quick. And it's still going on, correct? However, would you agree the New Year process is much better for kids and for just,
Yes.
the hiccups for data? You don't lose it. And you got the information immediately. Before you had to wait usually to a weekend for the data to be processed. Now it's essentially an hour later. Here's where they will get their data for the spring, and I had to put it in April, not later. I'd like it later,
Smart
but I
balance.
can't because of the other testing and just overload for kids and staff. So we put it here, but guess what they can talk about at that conference also? Just,
No, keep going.
no, that's essentially it
So
for that piece.
I have 2 thoughts. One is just an idea in regards to, I'm excited by this. I mean, this is making me very happy, giddy almost. Because I think it's really about having, a key ingredient here is having high-quality conversations between the educators and the parents. I do think it will be essential, though, that their institutional practices are set in regards to what the structure of those conferences will
Yep.
be. But I also wonder, given that you're looking at it over the year, I think this might help sell it, but I think it also might support the integrity, is that if beforehand, almost a curriculum for in the sense of, here's the focus of some of these different parent-teacher conversations will be different based upon the data available. It'd be nice to sort of have in advance, these are the teacher workshop days, and these will be some of the topics of discussion.
Communicate to the public.
Well, particularly to the parents. Know that this is an ongoing conversation that we will be having with you about your child's progress. And at different points of the year, we will be talking about different things. I don't know exactly what it will look like, but it sounds like the way you're explaining it, Bob, there is a curriculum of data that will be shared and communicated with parents. identifying and publishing that up front so parents know, I think would be an important part of the communication. That's the one thing. The second thing is I wonder is around policy. I think sometimes policy shapes practice. Sometimes I think practices shape policy. And I think this might be worthwhile looking at as a policy committee in regards to what implications does this have? Because I think this is a pretty significant shift. And I'd want to make sure that policy can support these practices because I think they're exciting and I think they're good. I'd want to make sure that we have in policy to support their continuance. I'm not sure from the work we've been doing if such policy exists in regards to, what is our policy in regards to teacher-student conferences?
I don't know if that.
Nothing.
And then I have one more question. Will there be a role for the students in these conferences?
Well, that could be determined.
Yeah. And that might be part of the policy. I know there's varying views on that. I'm a fan of student.
Student-led or student-accompanied?
I think it could be a developmental thing. I think student participation is key. I think that participation should increase as they go, but I tend to be a fan of more for the student than less. But what's reasonable for the kid,
Yes.
that sort of thing.
Well, if
I want them
there's,
involved in the conversation.
Okay.
if there's 3 parent-teacher conferences, is that what I'm looking at?
No, there's more than that, right?
3 times. I
There's
understand.
3 times.
3
Oh,
times.
I thought
Different times.
So,
I
my thing
misunderstood. I
is,
thought they were more frequent than that.
There's
No.
3 times, but
3
each
times
session
in the
is 2
year.
sessions.
Different times.
Oh, I thought there were 6 over the year.
no.
Look at your colors. Look at your colors.
But anyway, what,
Colorblind.
They couldn't possibly get to see them all. But this is where we
No,
talked
yeah.
about in the strategic plan about
So that's
learning
three,
management
okay.
system, LMS, and where the data resides, that will shift some of that need. Because
Yeah, that makes
communication will be there all the time.
well, as a parent, I didn't like my kid there while I wanted to just talk one-on-one with the teacher. So the fact that you have 3 of them, maybe one of them can be with the kid. But I'm just saying, it's very difficult because I was a parent who wanted the kid to go on his own, learn, and I don't want to butt in, and the teacher and the kid works together, good, he comes home, homework, whatever. But the day I have that one time with the teacher, I want to be able to discuss my kid, because you only have 15 minutes, you know, you're like, okay, this is what I want to know, you know. It's hard with the kid there, then sidetracking the whole conversation, then your time's up.
Yeah, I guess it probably.
I think you want flexibility for both. If you need to have a face-to-face conversation with a teacher without the child present, I think there should be an option for that. I think there's also solid evidence and research also at times for the students to take ownership of their learning and being able to communicate it. I want opportunity for both.
Yeah, you can bring your child if you
Can I
want.
say my practice is my
Yes.
kids are always invited to their conferences,
Yeah.
always. And I have this right nearby, and if I sense there's a conversation that needs to happen,
Yeah.
that's when we book it. You know,
Go to your book.
without Joey there, but,
Yeah, yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
but I want Joey to be there. If I can tell there's things we need to discuss without him present, we book that one.
And this is kind of where I'm thinking, all these conversations, we might be able to put that down in policy, just the approaches we take institutionally, because I like that. I mean,
Kids
that's
showcase their learning is really what you're after. Kids showcase their learning to the parent in that session. This is where I'm at,
Right.
this is where I'm going, what I'm doing, what I'm doing. That's what I would want.
Yeah, I'd even go even a step further though, and more than just showcasing something to me means just celebrating what I've learned.
No,
I want the
this
students
is
to
where
also.
I'm going, I said.
But this is what I'm struggling with.
Okay.
This is what, you see what I mean? Showcases are usually just the successes.
Yep.
I want students particularly to be able to articulate what they struggle with as well.
Say it,
That'd be hard to
Diana.
force.
This is a good conversation.
You wanted to say?
Yeah,
I didn't forget you over
Here
there.
comes Mike.
Question and concern about the actual documentation of the students' progress. We haven't completely developed or even started to develop the learning management system. And the discussion was mentioned about communicating to the parents almost on a monthly basis the students' progress. But there's no complete system in place yet.
Currently, this year, you're essentially doing it on a monthly basis, minus the middle conference that's being proposed here. You did a progress, you did an end of term trimester, you did progress, you did an end of term. This throws one additional in there, meaning that progress, but it's a communication piece instead of a document piece. You're 100% right. LMS that's where we're headed. And that's what we gotta do. And I think we're moving along as a school right now, and that's,
My question is the documentation piece, the data,
repository.
the scoring, you know, when we send it to Sanford, what do we send them with? A conference or something with data?
Sanford doesn't look at the data anyway, they're taking the recommendations of what the teachers say, where to place them in what courses, that's it.
So a conference.
But, Diane.
Say what you want to say.
Well, no, the whole thing with student-led conferences, if we did start it earlier, it would help the students so they would grow over time. I noticed this year with my own son, who's in 6th grade, it was the first time I ever had him sit in on a conference with teachers, and I saw a totally different side to my child that I had never seen before. So, and he enjoyed it, and it was, I mean, it definitely is worth having more conversations, because I think kids really would get a kick out of sharing their learning with their parents. I saw it firsthand.
Yep. What else?
I have one more thing on the calendar. If you, Mike, would you go to the last part? Right, whoop, right there. This is what the early release days are getting us. They're getting us a total of 56 hours of PD in a frequent, predictable manner. Okay?
Yep.
That's double what you have now with the teacher workshop days in time.
And consistent. I like
Yep.
the idea of consistency.
We can get something done.
You know.
I think you guys are like that too. It's like we're
Oh,
not sitting there spinning our wheels now, okay, what did we do 2 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So just to let you know, an email went out to the staff today essentially addressing what most people had put in that document of concerns. Remember I said I had them do a form? I started to share that in the street time. It's rather long,
Yes, it was.
but did it do the job?
It did.
Does that reduce some confusion and help
Yes.
clarity? And I expect to hear probably, because I meant to get this up first thing this morning, I went out like noon, maybe 1. So I expect to hear some back on that, I'm sure. That's it.
Okay.
Well, can we vote on the calendar?
Sure.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right, so it
So
was,
first for you,
I said go with what you gave us, Diana seconded, and we were discussing, now we can vote. How about that?
Okay. All those in favor of adopting the 2015-2016 elementary school calendar for, as explained tonight? All in favor? 5-0.
I like the Technicolor here.
Yeah, it's very nice.
that was the only.
Very iridescent.
Well, I understand it better.
I know.
The
Color
Okay.
coding is always a good thing.
I know my colors.
Yeah, go ahead.
Next item is the 9.4, it's a pre-K update, meetings, application, materials, and transportation. Trish was gonna speak to this. I think she did include it in the report, if I recall reading it.
Yep.
I'll do a quick summary for you. They had a meeting with the DOE, Representative Susan Reed, and also the Child Development Services
Lisa J.
Folk, F-O-L-K. And there's gonna be another meeting, I don't know the exact, I have it on my calendar, but another meeting coming right up where the DOE will come down and help us fill out the application. Technically, you have to have the application in a certain time beforehand, but Susan says you're good, Bob. That's all I need to know. So the focus now is, the application became available last Thursday. It's done in SurveyMonkey, of all things. I went through it on Sunday night, I think it was, and I grabbed PDFs, all I provided Sylvia and Lisa the PDFs of what those parts of the application are, because there's no way to just download the application and look what the questions are. There's a financial sheet that goes with it, I forwarded that to Kim. In my sheet, I'd highlighted, I think there's only like 9 areas in the financial sheet that we really need to worry about, 9 or 10 out of the maybe 25. At this point, it looks like the will of people is the parents want to transport their children, which is a big savings to us. I'm guessing from what I'm hearing that the program, it will be, right now isn't totally defined, but it'll be, what you say, some type of modification. Some kids may be here half the day, other kids may be here a whole day, some kids may be here in certain, but it's gotta work out. Everybody's gotta know this. I'm looking at the camera. We have budgeted for one teacher, and we're gonna reallocate an ed tech, which means we can only have 16 kids in that room at any one time. We know we have more than 16 kids wanting to come, but we also know that some parents want different times, so we just gotta manage that. I think it's safe to say, isn't it, Andy, where we're gonna place the pre-K?
Yes.
Do you wanna tell what rooms? I don't know the number.
106 and 10, whatever beside that.
Yes, it's,
We're gonna use those two rooms, which is right over here.
78 edition, yep.
We wanted a room that had good light, number one, on one side. We wanted a room that's kind of dark on the other. We're going to remove a portion of the wall between the two rooms. It's a non-supporting wall. Andy's looked at it. We're gonna try to do it April vacation, but because of the NEA testing, we need to use that other room. We're going to do it after school break. The team also is working on coming up with classroom
Material.
this stuff,
Equipment.
materials, content, all that stuff. The playground area is going to be in this, not here, it's gonna be directly outside. There's two doors that come out there, they're gonna go right outside. So they can go use the playground at any time without worrying about disrupting the rest of the school, and we don't have to budget time, who gets what when. We're gonna fence in that area. Andy's gonna get some quotes on that in the next, what day do we say? Monday after vacation.
You said next week, but I've already started.
The idea, the ground, we're gonna put chips down like they have out there. Andy, because we use it's the old boiler room there, today he discussed he would like to put a cement slab between the boiler area and that door so that you can wheel stuff back and forth on dollies or whatever. So as you come out there, that'll be a drier area. Maybe that's a kid where they can use chalk, and that sort of thing. Then there'll be chips, and then the fence area, we just have to verify the square footage requirement, okay? And there'll be two gates, and the reason for the gates is for snow removal. You can come in, grab it, move it. We have a catch basin to deal with. Mandy's got a plan to do something with the guys, that's not the right term. An affluent collection location. This is- And he's gonna somehow craft maybe a mini house or something there that's attractive for so forth. Anything else? And then, we've heard from parents that they would like to help assist with whatever equipment goes out there, playground. And that's about it. Now, on the pre-K, the job internal posting ends tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to post it outside, anticipated open, subject to budget. That will be posted. Kim's already. We got the job description spelled out.
So no one came from internal?
No, not as of yet. I think that's kind of it. Okay?
Kudos.
So,
Sounds good.
my hope was to have this the following year. We just got lucky and I don't know if some of that's not luck. I think it's because
Luck favors the prepared.
And I have to say kudos to the
Say
team,
that in Latin.
to the whole committee, the parents that are involved, the whole thing. It just seems, get out there to vote the budget and also. And on that, I just want to reiterate, we know the budget will be 1.43 increase and be able to do all this stuff. Okay,
All right,
do we have a short video,
go
Mike?
on to the video.
Now, just to set this up, the strategic plan time, they were talking about proficiency-based learning. Short name is PBL, /Student Center Learning. This is just a little snippet. Eventually, it'll be on the website, but it's to help set the stage, I guess you could say.
Well, thanks, Danny.
Work, the books. The day begins and ends when the bells ring. For centuries now, this has defined what all of us think about school. We have come to believe that this is the one way that students will learn. And with that belief, we have taught all of our students in pretty much the exact same way. But the world has changed, and what it means to be ready to succeed in the future has also changed. That means our model of learning must change. It's happening now, and it needs to happen even more. In more places, for all students, especially for those for whom the current system isn't working. There is strong data that shows we need to rethink learning. Like remodeling a house, we're not just adding a new coat of paint, we're updating the outdated parts and making it more modern and efficient, strengthening what works and fixing what doesn't. Gone are the days when some students can excel and others just get by. Our society needs all kids to excel at high levels, and to make this happen, we need to engage our students like never before. This is student-centered learning. It incorporates a student's skills and interests into the learning process, making the experience more personalized and involving the student in his or her own future. What makes this work? There are 4 key principles of student-centered learning. Number 1, learning is personalized. Personalized learning happens when teachers know students, have strong relationships with them, and can meet students where they are in their development. Number 2, learning is competency-based. Learning is about the information and skills a student has mastered, not just moving through a curriculum. In a competency-based system, students can proceed at their own pace in every subject, enabling teachers to respond to individual needs, interests, and challenges. Number 3, learning happens anytime, anywhere. Students will often make important discoveries about themselves and the world around them when they learn beyond the traditional school day and outside the traditional school walls. Learning doesn't start and stop when the bells ring. And number 4, the last key to student-centered learning is students take ownership. Don't make a decision about students without students. They play a direct role in their own success, actively engaging with the process to ensure the impact is lasting and meaningful. For student-centered learning to work, all 4 of these principles must work together. This is not an a la carte approach. It's reimagining education so it works for all students. The fact is, our world is changing. And with the latest in child development research, we know better than ever before how children and young adults learn. The facts are there, and they point to the need for a new system of learning designed around each student. And when this student becomes stronger and more focused, all of us will benefit from a new generation that is contributing to our communities and our world in so many ways. This is student-centered learning.
Thank you, Mike. The one thing I'd like to talk about that right now is, I mentioned it in the strategic plan time, is when they hear student-paced, people panic. Student-paced, they do, they just do. I'm looking at Kevin, he's, I don't understand why, but they do. And so it's really a combination of student-paced, teacher-paced. And so we have to make sure we provide supports that can address the kid that needs additional time. And you people will probably, a month from now, you'll begin to see some of those pieces that are going to be put into place for next year to address some of that extended time. Okay? So,
Okay. The policy bundle we've already taken care of, correct?
yep.
And evaluation system?
Oh, just a second, let me just get caught up on a few notes here. Just an update, evaluation system. I would anticipate, would you, Rachel, too, you speak to this, we should be able to do some sort of presentation probably next month about where we're at in this. State is still moving things around and deadlines and so forth. There's some things that are a little more solid than they were, but they're not a lot.
It's like watching Jell-O slowly become Jell-O.
And I think what she means by that is the water evaporates. It doesn't actually gel. But anyway, that's the only reason it's on there, to let you know that. And that's actually where Trish was this afternoon. She was attending a meeting in Scarborough to determine the next step for our 3 different cohorts we have that are getting trained in the model of Maranzano. And
Yeah.
they're planning out the PD from now through the summer/next year.
The steering committee tomorrow afternoon is presenting to the staff at least sort of their initial understanding, we hope, of the student learning objective piece
SLO.
that really directly impacts
Oh, I
them
should do
because
it next
they
month.
have to create the student learning objectives for their own evaluation. And other than those of us who've been pretty thoroughly trained and either also on the steering committee, it really will be our first real explanation to the staff of their piece in this and what's coming.
Is this a fair statement, that the staff that have gone to training are not, I wouldn't say as intimidated over the evaluation process, they see it as it's really focused on increasing a teacher's skill set and pedagogy, if you will. Not pedagogy, yeah.
Yeah.
And initially, when this all started, the fear was a little bit what? The other way, I think. They thought this was out to get you kind of thing, and it's not really.
I'm
what it is.
prejudiced, but I think many of us are pleased with the choice of Marzano and just their whole focus on just becoming better.
Okay.
Good. Okay,
9.
9-8,
Which was the,
reasonable, I have reasonable, I don't know what.
Yeah.
Reasonable
Reasonable
assurance.
assurance of employment, yeah.
Oh, reasonable assurance of employment.
that's this
okay.
one? It's a
I didn't get it all, I
two-sided
just wrote,
document?
there's more. Oh, yeah.
No, we
I
just got it today.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
It's the reasonable assurance thing. This says new. You haven't done this, you've done parts of this before, but not this piece. This is to take out some uncertainty, with particular regard to our school year employees, not our year-round so much. School year employees don't necessarily know if they have a job the following year or not. This is to let them know that, based on the budget, the way it is currently, if approved and so forth, this is gonna go out usually around, well, she's got May 2015, end of April, beginning of May, and it's gonna let them know that we are anticipating that they come back next year. Teachers get a teacher contract annually. They don't get a contract per se, but this is sort of saying, basically the similar thing. We wanna know. And if they don't know, then we know we have to find somebody, maybe. Okay? So that's one part. The second part is the other side, is a notice of election of school year support. It's determined how they want to proceed their pay cycle, I guess you could say. There is a little hiccup potentially in this, and that's why this is worded the way it is. If you go and read it, particularly or is it on this side?
No, yeah, it's actually on.
It's on the other side, sorry. Sorry, on the other, reasonable assurance. If an employee decides to choose the 26 pay periods, they get their spread out into 2 physical years, 2 contract years. So theoretically, they could get paid for health insurance, for medical and dental after July 1 till September 1, and if they decide not to show, we're out. So this is just to say that, no, if you do it, you owe us back. Okay? Anyway, roughly. Anything you want to add on that part?
Well, the 26, the employees that are.
The 22, excuse me.
Yeah, 22
I
or
meant to say
19. Those are the ones that, because their benefits are divided by the number of weeks that they're here, so July and August, we basically pay for it up front. This is saying, yes, if you sign it, we'll basically cover your insurance. If you don't show up September 1st, you decide to take something else, then you owe us for 2 months' worth of insurance.
I'm not sure how we get it, but
Is this for hourly staff or salaried staff?
This is just for school year support staff.
not year-round.
Yeah,
School year support staff.
But
right.
some of those folks are not salaried, right?
No, they're not salaried.
No,
Because the
they're
first
by
line says you
hour.
may elect to receive your annual salary. That seems to be,
Well, it's the salary that
Money.
it's in their contract
Right.
as their salary or their
that's
pay.
an accurate term for
Their
that?
pay.
I thought salary and
Yeah,
hourly
you got
were
a
two
good
different
point.
things.
Yeah, you got a point.
They're not salaried. They're hourly,
We could say compensation.
Annual
something like that.
compensation.
Good point.
That sometimes, I might also add that you may elect just to receive your salary. Just seems to me, that's a little type of thing. Am I right?
No, I like the other one.
You may
I don't
like
like the
your
word
hour.
salary, yeah.
You what?
I don't like the word salary like he's saying.
Okay.
No, but I'm sort of.
Annual compensation's fine.
Yep, but I would add they're electing to receive
Oh.
they're choosing how they're gonna receive the
Are you getting this, Ken?
compensation, you see what I mean? So I'd add just that, you know,
Contracted
you'd like to receive your
Contracted compensation.
contracted compensation, something like that.
Are you
This
getting
is not
this?
my area, but I'm just,
You may elect your
No.
contracted compensation to take out, well, it is annual, so.
but they're
Annual.
choosing how they receive, how they will
You
receive
can
it.
say
It could
annual
mean anything.
contracted
What do they call-
compensation, that's fine.
Okay.
So you got the notes? I'm not gonna
Yeah,
add mine.
no, I'm right, because I can
Because I'm
modify.
documenting.
Because this is basically to calculate this.
Yeah.
It's, it's gonna be based on whatever hours are given to those particular people, which hasn't been determined yet, and then, you
But it-
figure it out for the
the-
number of weeks they're
And what does it
here.
affect, 4 people?
No.
No, it's
No.
all
a lot
the
of
ed-
people.
Oh, wait,
all the
school year is
support
all ed
staff.
tech.
So
Okay.
it's the
And
ed
custodians.
techs, cafeteria people.
I knew cafeteria, the office.
And potentially,
Yeah.
potentially.
Oh, that's different now?
One custodian.
She used to be school year. I mean,
Yeah. people.
that
It
position.
should be Josh.
But it does say contracted hours. Is the
Right.
word compensation right?
You use wages?
Annual wages,
Yeah.
contracted wages?
Well, the reason why we're saying, see, I hate to use the word contracted.
Yeah.
Contracted is only if they go 22 or 26. If they pay as they earn, they're hourly,
You may elect to receive your wages.
your annual wages. Can we go back to annual wages?
Yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that.
The salary seems to be substantively different.
She'll figure it
We'll
out.
provide you with.
Yeah, salary people and hourly people are two different.
Yeah, so
Groups.
I could see that causing confusion.
Okay. All done with that one?
No,
Oh,
gotta flip over
good
the-
grief.
sorry, but,
Yeah.
so the reasonable strength, that's that one. Oh, no.
We did look at both of them.
There's
We
a
did look at
third one that these people get, which you don't get. We're not changing that anymore, I just want you to know. And that's called the notice of pay and benefits.
Yeah, it's good.
On that will specify the actual amount of
Package.
hours, and this coming year, we'll actually specify the time. You'll be here from this time to this time,
Oh,
this time to this time.
Yeah.
And I'll let you know, that's how we're gonna address for extending the school day for some kids.
great.
Okay,
Clarity, clarity, clarity.
and next one
Next one?
is the undesignated fund. It's a sheet.
I've been dreaming that word.
Yep,
No, yeah,
Designated, undesignated.
yep.
no, I should.
I've had to like do index cards for myself, so.
And I'm just gonna, I got it, but I'm gonna let him speak to it. Go for it.
Well, If you guys want to read it.
Because you've heard it before.
Yes, please.
Yep, go ahead.
So, as part of our policy, one of the first things you have to do is figure out what our minimum level is and what our maximum level is. So there's your 15 days of fund based on the current approved expenses, and then 30 days of funds based on approved expenses. So the first line is the $5,228,60, that's what we're budgeting. The minimum level, we divide it by 175 days times, which now, if you go by that calendar, would be 177, so I can modify that. Bottom line is, there's your min, there's your max. Now, if all the reserve funds that we have on the warrant go through and pass, we would adjust back to the town, we believe about $110,000. Okay, so that would actually bring our approved budget down to $5,110,860. And again, we'll figure the min and the max level, so you're between $438,876 for an undesignated fund balance. That's where we should be. So, you see the balance we have as of June 30th, 2015, that $963,790. From the reserve funds, which are Articles 19 through 25, that totaled $270. We take that out, that leaves a fund balance of $693,789. Now, from that, this year's budget, we are offsetting our expenses with $130,000 from undesignated. Okay, that's what we put in last year. So that would leave our net fund balance of 563,789. So that's pretty much right in the middle between the min and the max, which is kind of where we really want to be. So, yes, sir.
And am I correct in understanding, pointing out that even if we were to include, so we've got the net fund balance of $563,789. If we were to also to add the monies that are put into reserve accounts with the fund balances, we are still under the maximum level. Would that be correct?
Yes.
It's like we are.
So I just want to point that out, just for clarity too, is we're trying to, the whole point of doing the buckets and the designated, the fund balances was to alleviate some of the vagaries and the unpredictabilities of the budgeting cycle so that we can eliminate that to much more flatter budgets going down the road, greater transparency, but even with all said and done, we're within that, but
We're still below the balance.
but, and the net fund balance that we will continue to try to keep will sort of be in the mid-range of the min-max.
Right.
Which seems to be a reasonable.
Yeah, and I, you know, we will do these calculations, you know, we'll do it at the end of the year when we know exactly what our numbers are, so we know what we have to work with in the following year. But, I mean, the whole point is to stay right on top of our undesignated fund balance, so it stays within the mid-range between our min-max levels.
Yep.
So,
And this takes care of that carry forward. We don't, in the next budget.
You don't have to do that.
We don't have
yeah,
that.
there won't be a carry forward.
And that's, to me, is just a prudent
Right.
business practice.
So we can be more fiscally conservative moving forward because we
We
have.
hope to.
Absolutely.
That's
That's the
it.
plan.
Good.
Good, thank you.
Very nicely explained.
Yes.
Thank you.
This is an excellent, this is, yeah.
You want to express first, please?
The next one is, we'd like to just recognize Joy for her time here at Acton. She's moving on to, I don't know exactly the name of the place or role, but.
Sounds like a pretty exciting and challenging,
challenge.
challenging position.
The Lakeview Neuro Rehab Center and school, it's a private school within the center itself. And I've been consulting with them on my day that I don't work here and helping them overcome some challenges with their corrective action plan and working on their policies and procedures. So about 3 weeks ago, they offered me the job of director because the director had resigned under kind of duress of what was going on there. So it is a challenge, and there's a lot of news about it, but I'm up for the challenge. It's program development, and it's what I really love to do, so I'm excited. It's a different population, and they need a lot of support, and these students need the school to be at a higher level than it is right now, so that's where we're making those improvements, so thank you. I've really enjoyed my time here. It's been a wonderful opportunity. This is a fantastic school. You know, I've said it many, many times. Everyone here is absolutely dedicated to the students. It's always students first, and that's what I've loved about it. And, you know, we've had our ups and downs, but, you know, I respect everyone here, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
On behalf of the school committee, we'd like to thank you for all you've done for our Acton students during your tenure here at Acton.
And I would like
Thank you.
to add that Joy's also, actually, her last day is May 7th or 8th.
It's May 7th, it's a Thursday, but I am available.
That's what I was gonna say. Part of the process going out, one of the things, she's available on a per diem basis should we need services through September until the new relationship with Massavisa takes place. So we have one particular child and she's been on top of this child, I mean, the kid's not a problem, but getting the child into the high school setting that the child needs to be into for next year, so.
Good.
Thank you very much.
again.
Thank you,
Yes,
Joy.
thank you, Joy.
Thank you.
Do we have to formally accept
That's gonna
her?
be,
We'll do that, I think, in
The motions.
executive session, when we come out of executive session.
did we need to touch
Formalized.
this payroll thing?
Huh? What does that be?
We can.
This was in your packet, payroll thing, was that in your
It
packet?
No.
was not in the
No.
packet.
Okay.
No, I gave it to you.
Okay, next time, okay?
That's for the teachers tomorrow.
Okay. So we ready for motion to go into executive session?
I
then?
think we are.
I'll entertain a motion to go into executive
Yes.
session as per 1 MRSA 4056A personnel.
So moved.